Hello and welcome back to the channel. All right, let's go through this inn. First things first, let's go upstairs. See if there's anything we could steal here. A rogue stone. Really? Those I think sell well, at least they did in Baldur's Gate 2. And it's what you needed to go unlock the door to the Twisted Rune Council. Really? Translocation arrows again. I don't even think we used those last ones. Or did we give those to someone else? I don't think we did. A couple of nice rooms in the end here. Ah, the fake oil of speed. We're gonna sell that. Rolled Tunnel Fist. What do you got for me? God, just dwarven vernacular. Who are you? Rolled Tunnel Fist of Clan Battlehammer. And who do I have the pleasure of being pestered by? My name's Thalic, you mean old bastard. You look like you've seen battle, huh? Man, you're still looking rough after a week went by of you getting some battle? Oh, he went to the barbarian camp. Okay, tell me about that. So apparently their alleged king is a 7-foot tall man wielding a double-bladed axe, so a two-handed axe. Anything else you can tell me about? This guy's been the most informative about the barbarians so far, but it's still not much. I mean, Yeah, I mean, you guys were kind of picking a fight. Ombre Dunn? Is that the guy's wife? Aren't you a sight for tired eyes? Baby, I'm always a sight for tired eyes. I am walking eye candy. Yeah, handsome, sight for tired eyes. Yeah, this is his wife. I think he said it something about her drinking all the time, or the kid said it, or something like that. Anyway, name's Thalik. Who are you? Ombre Dunn. Yeah, are you Tybalt's wife? Tybalt's wife? Sleep under his roof at times, but am I his wife in name only? May his innards freeze and his body be buried in one of those barrels. You bitch. Yeah, sounds like you got a little love for your husband. Got no love. So, wait a minute. How is this his fault when you willingly came along? You know, he dragged you up here to the north. Did he really? Did he force you to marry him? Hmm. To make a few coppers. So the guy comes up here trying to better for his family, and it's only for a few You bitch. You know, it's like, why don't you just leave? It's like, hey, I haven't tried. Have you tried? Really? You think I haven't tried? What do you know? The caravans aren't running now, and every man I bed promises to take me south, then leaves me here. Of course you fuck everybody. Yeah, so are you willing to get away from your family in this town so much you give your body to a stranger? I would sleep with a garrison if it meant warmer climes and an escape from this frigid hell. Whore. You pathetic. Have you no shame, woman? What happened to drive you to such a state? Of course, it's always the man's fault. Always the man's fault. A bright new future. Now years have passed and he still labors in the shop. My daughter's a wild thing, more wolf than girl. This is not what I wished for myself, and I would do anything to leave and start anew. So you decided to become every man's thing in hopes that they could promise you something more? You are truly a fool to surrender yourself twice. I like this answer much better. Yeah, your presence here only harms your family. You should leave at once. They will survive and most likely prosper without you. I like that answer way better. Anyway, we're going to go with this one. You don't know what it's like. Look, I can tell you what... look, maybe I don't, but I can tell you what this... Like, I didn't even read the whole thing, but right here. Like, the honest husband. Because the guy is doing honest work. He came out here because he saw an opportunity. And we know that it's not his fault because that twat, Thom Bale, whatever, is holding back introducing him to a guy who's got a much better position for him, who's in need of a cobbler, or Cooper, and it's not the guy. We know it's not the guy's fault, and he did everything for his family, and yet this ungrateful bitch. And the guy is doing hard work, honest work, from everything that we've gathered. Anyway, you have an honest husband that does honest work, a beautiful daughter, in a home far removed from the mess of cities to the south, and you claim you suffer. Good point on the cities. You talk nonsense, and my husband makes coppers, barely enough to save from month to month. and my daughter is wilder than the barbarians. So your husband makes enough to actually save, good point, and your daughter has the strength of a barbarian, right? How can you spit on such blessings? Go to your family. They need you and you need them. It's too late, too much damage has been done. Sounds like your fault thing, but your place is with your family. It is not too late. Find your strength and go to them. Hey, 15,000 experience. Or talking a whore out of being an even dumber bitch than she already is. Murdaugh. Huh. My name's... Are you talking to someone else? Gotta be. Look here, Master Kieran. It seems Lady Tamora has blessings on your coffers this season after all. This hardy band of brave-looking souls will surely keep your kegs flowing well into the night. Oh, he's talking to the bartender. Okay. We didn't come here for drink. We're on an urgent quest to prevent a war with the barbarians in these parts. Aha! Stalwart troop of courageous adventurers on an honest quest for honor and glory. I was once like you, full of fire and spirit, full of piss and vinegar. These days I'm content to simply be full of drink. You and me both. You speak rather well for a man who admits to being a drunkard. Who are you? Murdaugh of Orkney. There's a... that, for some reason, for a split second, sounded familiar. Wandering bard and failure extraordinaire. Welcome to Lonelywood. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Failure? You don't seem to have a very high opinion of yourself. On the contrary, I acknowledge the fact that I've been highly successful at failing at whatever task is set before me. The reason why I wound up here so far from Orkney. I've never heard of Orkney. How far away is it? A small kingdom that clings to the windy foothills of the Spine of the World Mountains. Lies upon the trade route just beyond the pass, several days' journey to the south. Much further away, if you could possibly... What do you mean it's much further away? I mean that I am destined to never set foot within the borders of my homeland, Undead Orkney. Ah... That's a great answer. Why, were you banished? Indeed. Though it is a banishment imposed by my own actions, or inactions rather. Alas, it is a sad tale, one I do not wish to burden you with. No. Tell me. There's no art left in me. Okay. You know what? He's pretty reluctant to tell his tale. Let's buy him a drink. See if we can get him to loosen those lips. You know, I could have phrased that better. Let's give it. Here's 10 gold. We could afford a shiny gold piece, a fair price for a tail. We're gonna go big. In situations like this, we're going big. I don't deserve such a generous patronage, good sir. However, since this coin will undoubtedly find its way into my pockets of my good friend Kieran here, I'll accept your offer in the spirit of improved commerce. Alright, let me hear it. There once was a time, many years ago, when my heart, like its smith's forge, was aglow. with the brightly burning flames of passion. I was a bard, and as was the fashion, I traveled the land, stopping each night to perform for kinds of hosts who would invite. A wandering minstrel in for a meal, each ballad I sang did always appeal to both nobility and commoner, for I did sing of virtue and honor, of fortune and glory, and other such things that strike the fancy of peasants and kings. Far and wide throughout the realms I did roam. Song was my life, and the road was my home. Until one day, as I happened by chance to be entertaining with song and dance, a crowd of children from a nearby town, when along came a servant of the crown. A loyal steward of Orkney he was, in his hands he bore a royal decree, from which he read with a with a baritone voice. Hear ye, let the kingdom rejoice. The princess of Orkney shall soon be wed to the king's magistrate, Lord Hugh the Red. His majesty does graciously extend an invitation for all to attend tonight's festivities at the castle, to honor his most worthy vassal. For the rest of his words I did not wait. Like an arrow, I shot straight for the gate of the king's castle, where I did present my skills as a bard for the night's event. The king was kind, I'm pleased to report, for he welcomed me into his court, and treated me as an honored guest. In return, I did promise him my best, and even offered to compose a tune so lovely it would make his subjects swoon. Indeed, that night I did keep to my word, and sang a ballad that none had heard. It was a rousing tale of blood and gold, of heroes and villains in kingdoms of old. But as I performed, my eyes did meet the gaze of an angel, lovely and sweet. 'Twas the young princess that captured my heart, and for her I sang with all of my art, pouring my soul out with each ringing note, until no more sound would come from my throat. And when my last performance did end, the king himself was the first to commend such a fine display of lyrical skill. He offered gold as a sign of goodwill, and he further insisted that I stay as the honored guest until the day his beloved daughter was to be wed to his chief magistrate, Lord Hugh the Red. I humbly agreed, though I did not know how strong my love for the princess would grow, for each passing day was spent at her side, and often upon horseback we did ride out into the forest near the castle Auk, where I would play music and she would talk of her betrothal to Lord Hugh the Red, and how she wished she were free instead to follow her heart and marry for love. Oh, how I prayed to the heavens above for the chance to make the princess my own, but Tamora's dice had already been thrown. As I pined in vain, the nights quickly passed, and the day of the wedding came at last. But before the groom could offer his ring, the princess bride declared to the king that she loved another and could not bear to marry the magistrate, and forswear her one true love, at which point she did turn, and spoke the words for which my heart did yearn. I love thee, Murdaugh, and were it my say, I would gladly marry you on this day. Upon hearing her words, the groom went pale. He turned to the king and started to rail. About law and tradition he went, begging his majesty not to consent, for the princess was of noble line, and could not be wed to some low-born swine. The king was torn, for his daughter was dear, but the laws of the kingdom were quite clear. So in the silence he stood, shaking his head, until at last it was Lord Hugh the Red who proposed a solution, nay, a scheme, which at the moment, in time it did seem, to be a fair and noble compromise, for which I thought him to be very wise. He pointed out that it was the king's right by law to bestow the title of knight upon any man who succeeds in a quest. In addition, he did further suggest that I was not of noble birth, but there was one way to prove my worth. Journey to the north, where the Icewind blows. There you must find the fabled glacier rose. The king did heed the magistrate's advice, and bade me quest for the rose made of ice, and decreed to all that should I succeed, the hand of the princess he would conceal. So with hope in my heart, I sailed forth and began my journey through the frozen north. For 3 years I did search, both high and low, across the seas of ice and mountains of snow. I visited all 10 towns of Icewind Dale, but alas, it seems I was destined to fail. After 4 long years, I gave up my search and traded my quest for this lonely perch. For it was here, upon this very stool, that I realized I had been played for a fool. For surely as the ice wind blows, there is no such thing as a glacier rose. What a dick response. Oh my god, these are terrible responses. I don't want to leave. I mean, look, yeah, maybe you are. I mean, okay, let me think about this. I knew that was going to be about a woman too. That was pretty crystal clear the minute he started telling his tale. Boy, I don't like neither one of these responses seem to be like a good option or even a paladin option or anything of the sort. Boy, I don't like these responses. I'm gonna go with 2 because maybe 2 can lead into something of like tough love, you know, to snap him out of like, yeah, you are pathetic because you gave up. I'm hoping that's what this is. We're gonna go with option 2. Yeah, go ahead and mock my pain. I don't blame you. True love quest, roses of ice. I was a fool for believing in fairy tale nonsense. Man, I don't like those responses. That was a rose for Murdaugh. We spoke with a drunken bard named Murdaugh over the Whistling Gallows Inn. He told us his rather lengthy tale about how he sought to win the hand of a princess by questing for a rose made of ice. Sadly, we learned from his tale there's no such rose exists in the realms. Nevertheless, I suppose it couldn't hurt to keep an eye out for one during our travels. Interesting. What is that? Pipos. You know, okay, look, this function, this reveal details function, that's not in the original game. I said, I believe in one of the earlier episodes of our Icewind Dale playthrough, I have a retro machine that I built that was a very high-end machine, like top-of-the-line machine back in like 2003, 2004, give or take a year or two. And I bought all my old favorite physical copies of my old favorite games, and installed them. Most of them work. And whenever I install Baldur's Gate 1 and, you know, I'm not sure about, I haven't installed 2 yet, I just got it not too long ago. The reveal details is not in that. And I didn't remember that. And it got me thinking, and this just reminded me of this, because if in Baldur's Gate 1, right before you get to, as soon as you leave Candlekeep and you head towards the Friendly Arms Inn, you could just keep this on and you'll see in a tree that's legit no bigger than this right here, that there's just a little teeny tiny spot where there's a diamond. And then once you get to the Friendly Arm Inn, if you go to the right just before you enter the town, there's a rock that's super teeny tiny, but if you have the details revealed, you see it highlighted just like this, and it's a ring that you want to put on a mage because it gives you extra spells. And as I said, it got me thinking, like, do I really like this? It's kind of feels like cheating almost. So I don't know. I appreciate it. I'm going to use it. But kind of feels like cheating. So we have a hidden passage. So another road. What kind of... Oh, Seven Eyes. Such a terrible spell. I need to play around with this more, but... I mean, look, this thing is a level 7 spell. I have Sword deflects the first physical damaging attack from the caster. The eye may be expended, creating 5 magic missiles, 1d4 plus 1 magic. Whoop-de-doo. You know, and by the time you're casting level 7 spells, man, there's, especially with SCS, I mean, there's, like, the first physical damage thing, okay, whatever. Yeah, who cares? Probably still eats a stone skin. I haven't checked that. I'm talking shit there. But it wouldn't surprise me. Eye of the Mage absorbs 1 manifestation of fire, cold, or acid. Meh. And then you expend it, you get a lightning bolt, and then it bounces everywhere and kills your team. Eye of Venom halts any one attack or effort that could poison. Eh. Very specific. Maybe against drow archers. I mean, several other things too, but I don't know. You know, now that I say that, there are more and more that are coming to mind. But still, if this feels meh. Eye of Spirit. Oh, and you could expend the eye at 4th level priest as the 4th level priest spell Poison. That spell sucks. Sorry, it sucks. Eye of Spirit blocks 1 instant death magic attack. I don't remember that one. That's fairly nice, but it's just 1 instance. You're better off having your cleric cast Death Ward on you, or equip the upgraded, Hindo's Doom? Whatever protects you from death magic. Wait a minute. Power word kill. Does that protect you from Vorpal hits? Anyway, you could expend this for a 2nd level spell, Ray of Enfeeblement. Eh. I have Fortitude, blocks 1 stunning, blindness. Okay, sure. And then you can expend it for a shout spell. Eh. Single petrification attack. So, I mean, you put some small degree of use to it, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't know how to use it, but when I did, it was just bad. Maybe I'll find someone who could explain how these work. But from my own testing, from a minimum wage level thinker of this game, it was not good. It was not good. But we might as well learn it. Let's put it on Van Dyne. I see it being more useful on Van Dyne than on Maben. Oh, we don't have any bullets. We need bullets. We need to go back and buy bullets. We need to identify these, please. Robe of the Neutral Archmagi. Oh, sweet Jesus. Sweet Jesus. Alright, so magical resistance. You're non-detectable. Immunity to Umber Hulk Gaze. Okay, we're hanging on to this for sure. We lose 5 magic resistance. Gain some armor class. Now we gain +1 to all saving throws. So we have +1 to spell and plus everything else. I don't care about the detect magic thing, really. Yeah, we're going to hang on to this, though, in case of Umber Hulks. Alright. Alright, we are going to end it here for now. I've got someone about to knock on my door, and we'll pick it up in the next one. Thanks for watching.